The story begins with our female main lead, Jaiwon, gazing out of her hospital window with despair. Just then, her friend enters the room and encourages her to hold on to hope for life and to keep her spirits up. She tells life may not have given her a good husband, but she has a good friend, but who knows that this very good friend might betray her severely in the future. Simultaneously, Jaiwon is taken to another room for chemotherapy, where she can't even recall the last time she smiled. She reflects on all the injustices she has endured. She remembers how her mother-in-law treated her badly and how her husband quit his job and stayed home. Whenever she tried to reason with them or talk to them, they would mistreat and scold her. Her mother-in-law always taunted her for not having children, saying what good is such a daughter-in-law. Jaiwon tells her husband that he has quit his job and how they will repay their debts, but her husband dismisses her concerns as a joke and goes to lie down next to his mother. She also remembers how her office manager used to mistreat her. One day, while talking to him, she coughs up blood on the paper. Jaiwon, being a kind and noble girl, says nothing despite all this and silently goes home. Her husband is a careless and lazy man who spends his whole day wasting time on trivial things at home. Whenever Jaiwon tries to advise him, he becomes argumentative. Jaiwon feels pain in her stomach and goes to the doctor. The doctor informs her that she has stomach cancer, which is life-threatening. Her mother regrets that her son, Min-soon, married a sick woman. Even in her illness, her mother-in-law continues to taunt her. At the hospital, she shouldn't be thinking about her husband in her sick state. Fate is not always the same. Fate has given her a very good friend who takes care of her all the time. Jaiwon mentions that her friend is indeed a hard-working girl. That's why she became the manager there. Jaiwon used to work there too. She could never be as hardworking as her. This friend betrayed her by colluding with her husband, even though this friend claimed to be extremely sincere. It wasn't just Sam who betrayed Jaiwon, but also this friend, which causes her great sorrow to this day. The doctor tells Jaiwon that she should call a close relative so that the hospital bills can be paid and her further treatment can be arranged. Jaiwon picks up the phone and calls her husband, but he doesn't answer. After repeated unanswered calls, she sends him a message stating that her husband quit his job a year after their marriage, and since then, she has been bearing all the expenses. Finally frustrated, Jaiwon wipes her tears with her clothes and stumbles out of the house on her own. Stepping outside, she sees the outside world after a long time. Seeing the outside world, she feels a moment of happiness. Just then, a taxi driver approaches Jaiwon. Jaiwon gives the taxi driver her home address. The taxi driver tells Jaiwon that she looks very ill and hopes she recovers soon. However, Jaiwon seems completely despondent about her life. She says she has no desire to live, life has always betrayed her. She wishes she hadn't gotten married and didn't have any debts, so she could have gotten her treatment herself. The taxi driver tells Jaiwon that life can change direction at any moment. With that, he turns the car and takes it onto another road. Jaiwon gets worried, but the taxi driver tells her to be quiet and patient. Passing through a tunnel, he takes Jaiwon to a beautiful highway covered in beautiful pink flowers. The car winds through tree-lined paths, and for a moment, Jaiwon feels alive. The driver asks Jaiwon, "Isn't the road beautiful?" He adds that perhaps life, in the same way, is waiting for a beautiful path for her. As soon as Jaiwon reached home, she gave the driver the fare, but the driver asked Jaiwon to wait a moment. Giving the fare back to Jaiwon, he said that he was driving a taxi for the last time in his life today, and she should consider it as if her father was paying for it. The driver also wished Jaiwon for a loyal husband. After some silence, Jaiwon finally took the fare back. Stumbling, Jaiwon climbed the stairs of her house. Jaiwon found the door of her house open. She walked towards her bedroom, where she heard some voices. Her father had also suffered from cancer, and we will get insurance money if she dies. Jaiwon was stunned to hear all these things. Suddenly, Jaiwon kicked the door and said loudly, "You both are cheaters." Jaiwon is so weak that she cannot even stand properly. In extreme anger, Jaiwon picks up things around her and throws them at Min-soon and her friend Sumin, saying, "I will kill you both. You are cheaters." Min-soon tells Jaiwon to be quiet and even threatens her with a slap. As they leave the room, Jaiwon throws something hard at his back once more. Her husband, Min-soon, says angrily, "Let me see what Jaiwon does this time." Her friend stops him and says, "Forgive me, I did wrong to you. What's done is done." Life is for the living, and you are going to die anyway, so there is no need for you to create such a drama. Jaiwon's condition is quite critical, but in anger, she grabs her friend's bag and pulls it down. Sumin screams loudly and falls to the ground. During this time, Min pushes Jaiwon hard, so much so that Jaiwon's head hits a sharp glass table and she stumbles and falls to the ground. Severe bleeding starts from her head until she goes out of breath. All her life, she longed for happiness, but happiness was not in her destiny. There is no doubt fate can change at any moment. Then the story changes in such a way that Jaiwon goes to the company where she used to work. She suddenly finds Min standing in front of her. He is stunned to see Jaiwon. He tries to hug Jaiwon, but Jaiwon screams loudly, so much so that the entire office trembles once and people are left astonished. She runs after Min-soon, shouting loudly and throws things at him until she pulls Min-soon's hair. Meanwhile, the general manager of the office comes forward and holds Jaiwon's hand. For a moment, Jaiwon stops as soon as she looks at him. Jaiwon tries to move forward, but she stumbles and is about to fall to the ground when the general manager of the office steps forward and catches her. Remembering her past for a moment, Jaiwon starts running blindly. She is startled as soon as she sees herself in the mirror. Her hand hits a hot thermos, and the thermos is about to fall and break on her when the general manager punches the thermos to one side with his hand, knocking it down. He lifts Jaiwon and makes her sit down. Meanwhile, Jaiwon's friend Sumin arrives there. Jaiwon looks at her with a strange gaze and recalls the Sumin words for her. Jaiwon leaves the crowd and goes out of the office. She tries to go down the stairs of the garden and leaves one of her shoes there. The general manager follows Jaiwon because he is a good person, not only kind but also sincere. Jaiwon comes to the garden road and drops her other shoe there as well. She stumbles again and is about to fall when the general manager steps forward and catches her, saving her just in time. He tells Jaiwon to control herself and makes her sit on one side. Calm down for a while. He goes to pick up Jaiwon's shoe. Meanwhile, Jaiwon gets up and looks around at the people and buildings. She feels that the environment around her has changed a lot. In fact, nature has sent her back 10 years in life. That's why Jaiwon behaves a bit strangely. She has gone from 2024 to 2013. The general manager brings Jaiwon's shoe. Jaiwon wears it. Jaiwon asks the general manager what had happened to her and where she is at that time. The general manager asks why she was just running blindly and what had happened to her. Would she tell him? Jaiwon has gone back 10 years in life. She remains completely silent in front of the general manager. The general manager drops Jaiwon home. Along the way, he asks about Jaiwon's well-being and gives her some money, saying that Jaiwon had forgotten her bag and coat in the office. Jaiwon thanks the general manager and goes home. She is still feeling strange. Going home, Jaiwon looked at the things around her with a strange look and confirmed if she had indeed reached 2013. Jaiwon felt as if someone had knocked on the door. She went outside to see that the general manager had hung groceries by her door and left. While eating, Jaiwon wondered if her death in 2024 was a dream or if today's time in 2013, when she had gone back 10 years, was a dream for her. She remembered that in 2023, she knew the general manager, Yoo Ji-hyuk, very well, when he had become the CEO of the company. Jaiwon knew all these things very well. Then she got up and took out money from her coat. Suddenly, her eyes fell on the note given by the driver. She remembered how, in her childhood, when her father used to give her money to spend, he would lovingly draw a heart on it. Jaiwon didn't like this every time, but still, she was happy about it. Jaiwon remembered that the driver was not a driver but her father, but she didn't recognize him. Hearing this, she started crying uncontrollably. Jaiwon was sad that she couldn't even hug her father for the last time. After a while, Jaiwon opened the door as Min-soon entered the house. Jaiwon looked at him with a strange gaze because he was her future killer. Min-soon asked her something to eat. They both went out to eat. Min-soon asked her why she needed to create a scene in the office today. When he talked to other girls, he found out that girls usually show such behavior during their periods. Min-soon asked if Jaiwon was pregnant. Jaiwon said that she was nothing like that. She was just suffering from gastroenteritis and did not desire a child. He said that she should not become a mother at this age because once she became a mother, she would not be able to fly. Jaiwon took his words as a joke, thinking that since she had come from the future, she knew that Min-soon would sit at home and only want to live off her money. Min-soon said that nowadays, having a child means ruining one's own life. Listening to his words carefully, Jaewon thought about how her mother-in-law used to taunt her in the future for not having children, even though her son was not in favor of having children himself. Min-soon asked why Jaewon had hit him in the office. Hearing this, she threw the money and got up in a moment, saying, "Let's break up." Min-soon ran after her and forcibly asked her why she wanted to break up. Jaewon thought that perhaps this wicked Min-soon would not even cry at her death, but he couldn't bear the insult of a breakup. Min-soon shouted at Jaewon. Jaewon cried for help. After a while, the police took both of them away, and at the police station, the police did not listen to Jaewon and told Min-soon that his wife was a bit abnormal. The police dropped Jaewon home. Going home, Jaewon thought about what she should do because earlier she was afraid of breaking up, but now she was not afraid of breaking up. "But you're making a mistake." After a while, Min-soon texted her, saying that he had treated Jaewon badly and he should not have shouted at her. He told her that he was about to succeed in the stock exchange in a while, and after that, they would get married. During this time, Jaewon remembered that Min-soon had taken a successful step only once in his life, and it was about investing in Tuksoon's shares. Jaewon was happy to hear this because she had come from the future and knew that these shares would grow rapidly because she knew how much the world had changed in 10 years. Jaewon went to the doctor for a checkup, but the doctor said that she was fine now and did not need a checkup. She just needed to take medicine for gastroenteritis on time. Jaewon had now decided to pay full attention to her health. Jaewon now wanted to live her life anew. She went to the library and took some books. There, she met the general manager, Mr. Yu. He saw the book in Jaewon's hand. "Read this if you want to quit your job, or do you want to die while working? If you plan to quit your job, read this book." Jaewon said she was not quitting her job. Just then, her eyes fell on the injury on the general manager's hand, for which Jaewon herself was responsible. Jaewon apologized to him, but the general manager said that if she really wanted forgiveness, she should treat him to his favorite food. They both went to a nice restaurant to eat. Jaewon looked at the general manager with a loving gaze. In a hurry, she took a hot bite, and the general manager immediately gave her a tissue paper. She quickly got up and looked at the manager's wound and remembered that it was exactly the same kind of wound as on her own arm. The general manager told Jaewon, "Let's go home now." While going home, the general manager told Jaewon that she was a capable person. After Jaewon left, the general manager paused and looked at Jaewon with a loving gaze. At night, while drinking tea, Jaewon again remembered the general manager, Mr. Yu. She thought that she had always considered Mr. Yu a quarrelsome man, but in reality, he was kind-hearted. Next, she had come face to face with Min-soon. She tried to hide from him. Leaving the elevator, she reached the office by stairs. Min-soon called Jaewon repeatedly, but she avoided looking at him. After a while, Soo-min came to Jaewon and asked why she hadn't answered her phone since last night. Jaewon said that she was reading a book in the library and lost track of time while reading. She told her about a woman who had cancer and had seen her husband and friend sleeping together. Soo-min said that her friend was even worse than her husband for betraying her friend, but in reality, Jaewon's hint was towards her, but who knew that this would happen in the future. Soo-min lovingly rested her head in Jaewon's lap. Jaewon was about to put her hand on her head when suddenly the system manager, who was a grumpy man, called Jaewon and showed her proposal. He loudly pointed out flaws in Jaewon's proposal while everyone in the office listened and said that it was a completely bad proposal. He pointed out system errors, but Jaewon was happy in her heart because he was a perverted man and would only accept Soo-min's proposal. Jaewon wished that in reality, he was an ignorant manager recommended by some high-ranking person. After that, the perverted assistant manager told Jaewon what kind of clothes she wore, even though she was also unmarried, while even the married people in her office wore slightly revealing clothes. After that, Jaewon left. Another assistant of the assistant manager came to Jaewon and made tea. She put the teacup down and went to the edge of the table. Jaewon remembered that in the past, this teacup had fallen, but this time, because she knew everything beforehand, she would not let the teacup fall. In her previous life, she had gotten hurt while trying to save the teacup. Jaewon felt happy after saving the teacup. She quickly went outside, and Min-soon followed her. Jaewon ran and was about to collide with a trolley but narrowly escaped by passing near the general manager. She ran out of the washroom, and Min-soon tried to follow her again, but while running, he collided with the trolley. Jaiwon thought that he finally got hurt, but the reason for the injury was something else. She wondered if her end would be the same as what was already decided in the future, but the injury on her arm had disappeared. Jaiwon thought that she should solve these puzzles. The next day in the office, Min-soon messaged Jaiwon, saying that it was not a good thing and they should sit down and resolve the matter. After some time, everyone was called for a meeting. Jaiwon thought that whatever had to happen would happen. It was already decided. On the way, Soo-min met Jaiwon. Jaiwon told her that she needed to throw away her trash. Soo-min was surprised to hear this, wondering why she suddenly remembered the trash. Soo-min said that she would do it, but in return, Jaiwon would have to have dinner with her on the weekend. In reality, she was referring to her husband, Min-soon, as the trash. Jaiwon saw that Soo-min went and sat next to Min-soon. Looking at them, Jaiwon thought, "That trash of mine that you wanted, now you handle it," because she wanted Soo-min to marry Min-soon. Bye K-pop lovers. Hit the red button to connect with us.